Okay, well, first of all, I just want to note that, as far as I'm concerned, this is a cheap, very cheap right-wing motion. Yep, cheap and right-wing, and very ill-thought-out, and I expected better even from the pathetic performance of the Labour Party in government for this coming from the Labour Party, but obviously it's not right-wing enough, hence the amendment from Fine Gael. I call this a cheap motion for the simple reason we're sitting in one of the most affluent councils in the country with some of the most affluent residents in the whole of the country. The result of this motion would effectively mean that because of Dún Laoghaire has got a large population of affluence, and I think if you look at the CSO figures, which I've made the point time and time again. Could you please shut up, Councillor Horkin, when I'm speaking?
Councillor Horkin, just let Councillor Lewis speak without interruption. But Councillor Lewis, can I ask you to withdraw what you said?
Well, I asked him to shut up, so I'll say it again.
I'll ask him to be quiet.
Okay. Well, I won't ask him to shut up. I'll leave it to you in future, Cllr.
Councillor Lewis.
But the results of which, if this was implemented, we obviously have some of the highest site evaluations in the country. Millionaires Row, only a perfect example. So the results of which Dún Laoghaire would raise more income than other counties. And I'm basing this on 100% performance of the household tax. I'm not even bringing the boycott element into it, or Donegal or anything. So if every council paid 100% of the household charge, the fruits of which would be that Dún Laoghaire Council, other such councils like it, will get a larger portion of funding into the councils than other counties that may have exactly the same population and even more of a needs in terms of transportation and stuff, because they're not built up suburban like our own. So the result of this motion is to fund wealthy areas and to not fund areas with low affordability for housing. And in fact, I shouldn't even make that point, because the government has actually come out at this stage and refuses to rule against the new property tax affecting council houses. So, I have to say I was very surprised with this being the agenda. Not only obviously are we against the idea of a site evaluation property tax, because the results of which will mean very modest homes paying up to €600 a year. I love this motion to say a wealth/property tax. But of course I wouldn't be in favour of the notion of the motion, but I'd rather it said wealth property tax, because then we could actually go after some of the unspent monies in our society and generate a huge amount of revenue. Instead, we're going to lump people with probably a 0.25% valuation of the home, and then discriminate each county on that basis. So I presume Councillor Fitzpatrick hasn't thought through this motion too much, or perhaps he's thinking about the self-preservation of his own party in this particular county, but certainly that will come to the detriment of his party in other parts of the country. So I'll just warn him on that, if that was his intention for something like this. So obviously we're against this motion, and we'll be consistent, where discrimination on the grounds of wealth and social status apply, and this is actually knitted into this motion. And I'm a bit surprised by the amendment. I wouldn't have thought it needed a kind of right-wing amendment just to drop any conciliation towards the end. So absolutely we're against it. And I presume even the fairest of the most affluent people of this country would be against it for the exact same reasons.
Councillor Horkin.